Well, they say that revenge is a dish best served cold. It certainly seemed quite chilly in Paisley tonight as Celtic put 4 goals past St Mirren without reply. The second midweek in a row that we've been talking about a 4-0 Celtic win. David, it's not perfect, but it's better than it was before.
Hi, in the end, it was quite enjoyable to watch, wasn't it? Quite bizarre. I thought for long spells we were poor. I think we really click in the final third again. Thought the decision making was kind of off for long spells, but I thought we defended really well. I must say, I thought the centre back partnership really promising. I hope Welsh's injury isn't too severe. It looked a bad one in the replays. I thought they two together sort of ensured we kept relative control of the game at 1-0. I think you could see St Mirren tired in the second half, but I felt our decision making was better. The longer the game went on, I thought there was more runners going beyond the defence as well, more players looking to join the attack, and we didn't overcomplicate it as much. I don't feel combination of all of those, I think, helped us run away with it in the end.
Yeah, I mean, goals from Tom Rogic, Odsonne Edouard, Ryan Christie and David Turnbull did the
Yeah,
damage. God, you must be bad when even Ryan Christie is scoring goals against you. But um, 3 of those goals came within 4 minutes, David, at the end of the game. It
yeah,
definitely put a bit of a gloss on it for me. I didn't think it was a massively overwhelmingly positive performance, but it is another victory. Um, Obviously tinged by the news of Stephen Welsh. We'll start there. Stretchered off, seems like it could be quite a bad one for him. How did you view that tackle first of all, and then the subsequent what looks to be quite a bad injury?
I'd maybe, well, maybe not like to see it again, but in order to get a better understanding of maybe the intent, it maybe ideal to see it one or two more times. It didn't look great, mate. It really didn't. I thought it was similar to Roofs that he's just been pulled up for. I thought it was as dangerous as that. I think you can see the way Welsh's his ankle shapes. Could easily have broken it. Could easily have broken it. It doesn't look as if it's going to be that bad. Don't think he looked in as much pain as that. So hopefully there's some positive signs there. But I thought it was a bad challenge. I think that's a red card. I think it's too dangerous to be going in like that with the studs up, just landing it in the player's ankle. It's bad news, Hamish. It is. So we'll see what happens, but just hopefully he's all right. He's got a big year ahead of him, and I just hope that injury isn't going to ruin it for him.
Real blow for him as well, because he kind of looked like he was coming on to a game over the last few weeks. I thought he
Yeah,
was a little bit hesitant, a little bit nervy at the start of tonight's game. He was caught out quite badly at the start, and he had a few misplaced passes, and there was one where he completely clattered a striker
well,
right at the start of the game. But in general, I thought his performance was good. It just seems like we can't really catch a break this season. Whenever we seem to be getting some sort of momentum in some area of the pitch, we get something like a bad injury, and you're now assuming that Shane Duffy's going to come into the team yet again.
well, we'll see what happens. We'll see how bad it is. Going off in a stretcher never looks great. Hopefully it was all kind of precautionary. Maybe that sounds a bit silly, but I hope there was some sort of precautions taken. We talk about maybe the slow start he had to the game. That's the kind of occasion you have to back the player. You have to back the youngster when he's making these errors, when he's giving the ball away. Can't be too quick to have a go at him for those kind of things. I said in the 67 hail for him over the weekend. It's easy to back Welsh when he's scoring headers against Motherwell at Parkhead and everything's going rosy, but when you have these tough midweek evening games and he's giving the ball away and it's a bit rougher, a bit tougher, that's when you have to stick by him. I hope Lennon does. I hope whenever he comes back from this injury, hopefully it's not long term again, that he's thrown right back in as soon as he's able to be put back in. It looks like we're going to have Shane Duffy. He made another terrible mistake tonight, and if you know what one
Yeah.
I'm talking about,
Mhm.
um, everything's just blown up with that man. It's actually a bit of a shame now, to be honest. But it does look like he'll be in. I don't think we even got any other options. We didn't sign a centre back in January, so I think unless unless he puts Beaton back in. Don't even know what
We've
the
lost
situation
Al
is with
Hamid as
Beaton.
well, obviously. He's just signed for Hapoel Beersheva, I want to say, in
Yeah, it is
Israel today.
Beersheba.
So we've lost him. He was a centre-back option. We have lost Julian. We look like we've now lost Welsh. Time will tell how long he's going to be missing for. But you're right, David. We are right down to the bare bones in terms of having Christopher Ayer and Shane Duffy, and I mean, virtually no one else. I mean, if one of those gets injured, you're either looking at playing a daft formation, or you're looking at going to the reserves and under 19s, under 20s development team and
No,
plucking someone from there.
they're not going to do anything like that. They'll work the formation out.
Scott Brown.
You could see something daft if it gets to it. I saw people touting Christopher Ayer for the holding midfield role. I think it's far too late to be doing anything like that, and I think he'll be needed now at centre back. He's just a first choice pick. I think he's an incredible footballer, to be honest, for his age. But yeah, we are down to the bare bones. There's no other option. Duffy has to come in. And this just goes back to January for me. Hamish Lennon was going on and on about needing a new centre back. He didn't get it, and this is where we are. We've had an injury to one of them, and it really is bare bones. Like you say, one more injury, and with nobody to partner Ayer.
Yeah. Just sad for Stephen Welsh as well, I think. But we did win 4-0 tonight, so I'm going to touch on that now. Your comments are flooding, and it's a bit of a quieter stream tonight. I think what I've found out since we started this channel is you get the two extremes. You either get a big Celtic win and everyone piles on because they want to bask in the glory, and then you get the horror results, which we've had plenty of this season, and everyone piles on for the furore, and let's be honest, fans of other teams fire on as well. When you get a routine or a comfortable, comprehensive victory like tonight, it tends to be a wee bit quieter, but people will be watching this on demand, so it means that it's a bit of a private one tonight, David. We can get more involved with those people who are getting in touch with us in the comments. People like Robbie Smith, saying there's a good win. Feel we'll lose Welsh for a while and we have to play Duffy. I'd agree with that as well. Robbie also asking, why did Christie take the free kick? Turnbull needs to be on free kicks. I was actually thinking Edward might have been a better option for that one later on, but when you saw Christie stepping up for it, you knew it was either going right over the bar or it was going straight into the wall, and it turned out that the latter is exactly what happened. Mazhar Yusuf, now apologies, I've not got my contact lenses in, so I'm going to do my best to read this out. I never really have to vet Mazhar's comments because I think he's a reliable person. Such a dire first, neither team could string passes together. Second half was much better in terms of passing and the tempo. The penalty killed the game, and it was nice to see us see a game out. Plexiplox as well, pity it's all too late. That kind of sums it up for me. We're going to get on to the actual game and talk positively, but one last thing I wanted to throw in, David. We've gone 18 points behind Rangers now. We've still got one game in hand, which I believe is at home to Aberdeen. Mm-hmm. I think we've thrown away 9 points already this year. Those 3 back-to-back draws and the defeat, of course, to tonight's opponents a couple of weeks ago. That Dubai trip has really cost us, because if we'd have been 9 points better off right now, doing the maths really quickly, we would have been I can't do the maths, 9 behind with a game in hand and 2 derbies to come against Rangers had we taken care of our own business since Ibrox, and it's disappointing how much it seems to have cost us.
Too many felt it was over after Ibrox. It wasn't quite. I think the nature of that game, the disappointment of the result, sort of led a lot of us to think, it's over, what a mess this year's been. It wasn't, a couple of draws from Rangers and it was back in our hands again. They've had their draws, and like you're saying, Dubai's now cost us because we've just had an absolute joke of a run before the last week. Dropped points all over the place, and that's what's killed us. Might have the odd optimist sort of still doing the maths every time Rangers slip up between now and the end of the season, but for me it's just 1 or 2 too many now, and that's come from Dubai. Lennon said after Rangers we have to win every game now, and we've failed to win I think 4 of them, so it tells its own story, and it's why on a night like this we are still a wee bit muted.
Well, you can be realistic David. I was going to call you negative David. We'll call you realistic David. There's another David being in touch, goes by the name David Patterson.
Mm-hmm.
He believes that the dream is still alive. I don't want to put the comment on stream because
Yeah.
there is a wee swear word in there. We might get demonetised. But believe what you want. I don't believe the league is over. Rangers have been. If they can get beat 3 times, we beat them twice, we will win. I'm remaining hopeful. Suppose it's all we can do. Good on you, David. Listen,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm absolutely all for having hope. I personally think that it's just too far gone now, and it's too. I think they would need to lose maybe 5 of their last 10 games, something like that. I just think it's too much. But listen, if you don't have hope, what do you have?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's quite right. David there. I think he probably reflects maybe a wee bit more of the support than you might think. But I'm not in the business of praising Rangers, Hamish, but I don't think they're bad enough to drop the points that they need to. They have been too consistent over the season. I think they've had, it's going to sound like sour grapes, but I've not really seen a decision go against them in a game. I don't think they've had many of them. So if maybe things even themselves out in that sense, we might get a wee bit of fortune. But
listen,
also
if things even themselves out, we're waiting on about 12 positive COVID cases, right. About 14 penalties to other teams, about 8 red cards to Rangers players. We're waiting on it all, mate. It's not going to happen. But
they've also, to be fair, they've also had some tough games recently. They've been to Pittodrie, they've been to Hibs. Some of those tougher fixtures are out the way a wee bit now. But hey, we'll see what happens. We'll try and keep winning and see if they have an almighty collapse, But for me, it just feels too optimistic just now.
Right, Tom Rogic scored tonight. I think commentator Ian Crocker said it was just his second goal of the season.
Is that right?
Not really surprising. The other one arrived against AC Milan, which was also with his left foot, I believe.
Trademark finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, typical kind of Tom Rogic left-footed finish. But tonight's goal was a really good goal. I was just penning a tweet or typing out a tweet just as he struck the ball, and the tweet was going to be along the lines of, I see Tom Rogic is really justifying his place in this team, because I thought the way he started the game was awful. He had a couple of really misplaced passes. There was one he just passed out the park. There was another one he miscontrolled, and I was just thinking, what is he doing? But brilliant finish. That's what you want from Tom Rogic. That's what he's done so often for us over the years. And I actually thought tonight he was one of our better performers. I felt he got into some good gaps in the second half. If he could just have found that pass a little earlier rather than holding on to it for too long, we could have been in a couple of other times. But I thought he played well.
He did. I thought, like you, I thought he started really poorly. Don't actually think he had a great first half overall, but again, do think he sort of got better. I thought the whole team get better in the second. His goal, like I was saying, it's just trademark stuff. It's almost like a tap-in for him when he gets that ball in the left peg inside the box, sees that far post, you'd bank on him, you really would. He had a good game overall, I think. Try to think some of the other performers. David Turnbull was okay. I thought he grew into it as well in the second half. Very quiet again in the first, but he was moving it a bit sharper. But I don't really think we got that more threatening until the last 20, 15 minutes when St Mirren were pushing forward and there was clear gaps there every time we were attacking. But they were clinical. They were clinical towards the end of the game. There was some good finishing in there. Thought Christie took his goal well, Turnbull took his goal well, and all 3 of them came from really good off-ball movements. We had Greg Taylor making quite a clever run to get into the box, felt the contact, and he went down. The Brian Christie goal had awareness to get on that overlap with Edward, who, by the way, could have set up a few more goals tonight, I feel, with some of his decision making again. I think Albion Ajeti might be feeling a bit frustrated, some of the positions he get into. But again, the fourth goal, the final goal, again, good movement from Christie. I think it's a kind of poor first touch he takes, but good awareness from Turnbull to get into that position. So, yeah, there were positives there, but again, it just feels too little too late, doesn't it? As we said, I think last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago after the Hamilton game, they all feel a wee bit like glorified friendlies just now, don't they? So, again, though, winning's winning. We want to see Celtic win as many games as possible, and it was another one, and an enjoyable one in the end.
I've got a really wacky take, and I may get absolutely torn apart in the comments, but I'm not convinced Odsonne Edouard should be a starter at the moment for Celtic. I know that he is our talisman. He has been for years. He's the most valuable player in our squad. But I think all things considered, given that he looks to be playing well within himself, let's just say at the moment, I don't massively blame him for that. I mean, I can barely get myself up to watch Celtic at the moment, so and I'm a lifelong Celtic fan, so I get where that comes from. I'm just not totally convinced he should automatically be starting every single game. I'm not saying drop him for for the rest of the season, but what I'm saying is I would like to see a bit more of Klimala. I would like to see possibly one game of Ajeti and Griffiths together, see if they could work. My inkling is they wouldn't work, but if you don't try it, you don't know. And I just think that Edouard should no longer be a definite starter for us, given the way he's been playing.
Celtic have a player to sell in the summer though, don't they? I mean, they have an asset to sell. I think he's maybe a better sell if he manages to get himself up to 20 odd goals for the season, and he's had a good year and he scores in one or two of these derbies, shows he's in good form, shows he's not a player who last contributed 6 months ago. I do think you'll get that though. I do think you'll get the rotation at some stage. Neil Lennon might feel like David Patterson in the comments, he might feel that they've still got a small chance of doing it this season. That might be why he's still going with what is our most talented striker. But you will see rotation. We always do towards the end of the season. I think the league will be over at some stage, not too distant future. And I think after that point, you will see some of that rotation. You might even see the likes of Klimala and Ajeti getting more minutes in some of the bigger games against Hibs and Aberdeen. But I do think Lennon will stick with Edouard for the derby, because ultimately in the summer Celtic have to maximise their value for Edouard, and the best way to do that is to have him in good form heading into the window.
I'm not saying for 1 minute that Edouard should be dropped for the rest of the season. I think he could still start the games against Rangers, but I would just like, we're playing 2 games a week for the rest of the season basically. Does Edouard have to play every game? Does Callum McGregor have to play every game? I know there's so much chat about Scott Brown in the midfield, but for me, Callum McGregor looks like a guy who's in need of a bit of a rest. I know we may not have a lot of options there, but Luca Connell's there. Scott Robertson we had at the club and have now loaned back down south. I would have quite liked to seen one of those two before the end of the season. I know the league isn't mathematically over, but the league is over. So let's plan for next year.
So I get that, but if you are the manager and you have to look at things from Neil Lennon's perspective, listen, we've done a lot of Lennon bashing over the last few months. We don't want him in the job next season, but if you're looking at things from his eyes, is he thinking to himself, I'll throw Robertson in there, I'll throw Connell in there, I'll throw Klimala in there and lose the next game and bring a bunch of pressure back onto myself? All Lennon's thinking just now is winning the next game, and because he thinks that these runs of form is going to rebuild his reputation.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's long past that. I don't think he can hide behind a few wins anymore. I don't think he can hide behind 5 or 10 wins in a row, mate.
No, the damage has been done.
If we win every game between now and the end of the season, doesn't change a thing. We need change in the summer. But from Lennon's perspective, I think he will think himself that he can soothe things a bit by continuing to win games. That's another reason why Edouard will continue to play, and another reason why McGregor won't be out of his team either.
Well, David's agreeing with me, not you, but other David Patterson. Thanks for that. A few other people getting on at me, but it's all friendly natured on tonight's stream. Mazar was asking me a minute ago about birthdays coming up. I don't know what Celtic birthdays are coming up, but you know what you can do, Mazar?
Get mine later this month if you want to know.
You can just keep scrolling in the Celtic FC Twitter timeline. I'm sure they have a reputation for letting you know whose birthdays, players that have played for the club 30 years ago, players who once went to Celtic Park on a holiday. They'll give you all the birthdays you want to know, Mazar. Right, I think that's pretty much us. I'm just checking if there's anything else I've got written down here. To be honest, I've got a few probably more negative points that I would probably have aired had we only won 1-0 tonight, but we did win 4-0, so I'll save them for another day. It is a positive Celtic result. It's 3 wins in a row, David. Onwards from here, hopefully.
Yeah, on to the next one. I think it's St Johnstone away at the weekend, I'm sure.
Sunday.
I've checked the fixture list, but I think it is on Sunday, yeah. a fixture that has generally been good to us, but we struggled there at the start of the season. Took a couple of late goals to win the game, so won't be easy. Won't be easy going back there again. Obviously, St Johnstone took a point Parkhead too. So again, from Neil's perspective, he'll just want to keep winning, but the season is just fizzling out. It really is. Unless we get a total collapse from Rangers, there still isn't too much to get excited about. But we'll keep watching them, and we'll keep hoping they can win some games and make this season maybe a wee bit less of a disaster than it's turned into.
Yes, Celtic are winning, so we can be positive about that at least. We've not had too many wins to talk about over the last few months, so let's bask in that glory. Thanks everyone for getting in touch on the stream tonight, the likes of Robbie, Davey, Mazar, David, loads of other people. We really appreciate all the commenting we've been getting. Anyone who hasn't yet subscribed to the channel, now may be a good time to do that. We both would certainly appreciate that. David, thank you for your time. I'll let you get back to whatever else you do in your life when you're not on this YouTube channel. And for now, I will say goodbye, take care, and hail.